Hey guys, so you may have sort of owned your morning, but now we want to really own your bedtime routine. So getting the bedtime routine, or sleep hygiene as it is called, is a really big part to sleeping good quality hours at night. So as a bit of a pre-frame, what we really want to do with your sleep hygiene or your bedtime routine is we want to make it feel like it's nighttime. Okay, the more it feels like it's nighttime, as though you're sleeping out in the wild, the better off that sleep quality is going to be. Okay, there's a big difference between 8 hours of where you're not going into deep sleep and 8 hours where you are getting that deep sleep each cycle. So as you know, sleep is the biggest thing for recovery. It is also the biggest thing for brain, for a sharp brain, for that regeneration. So we really do want to get this right. So a couple of components of a good sleep hygiene, and just so you know, I've struggled with sleep for a long time. I'm generally quite restless. So I have dabbled in this a lot. I have researched a lot. I have tried a lot of different techniques, but what I'm going to present to you is sort of what I find best for myself based on my own evidence and also my own reading and research. So first of all, when you come home from work, whether it's 5 o'clock, whether it's 7 o'clock, you really want to leave work behind. So I suggest actually turning your phone off or putting on airplane mode if possible, or at least turning off notifications on your emails, on your social media, stuff that you know isn't actually important. Okay, we don't want to be constantly reminded of having to pick up our phone and be alerted with work stuff. So we want to take away any stimulation that we have and try and dull that right down. Okay, so that's the first component, turning off all notifications, making sure that everything is more about being present at home and less about what you did throughout the day. Another really important component is making sure that your senses aren't overwhelmed. Okay, so what I mean by this is that the lights aren't too bright. So use minimal lighting, use candles if you can. It's not only romantic, but it's also really good for your sleep. Try not to watch TV too close to bedtime, including Netflix, including any sort of screens. If you do have to watch screens, then make sure it's at least on nighttime mode. Okay, you can easily do this on your phone, which stops some of the blue light, or use blue blocking glasses if you are watching TV. So the reason that this is important is because that blue light from our screens actually disrupts melatonin. Okay, our brain thinks it's still daytime and it won't produce the same melatonin, and melatonin needs to be highest at night to actually send us to sleep. Another component of getting ready for a really good night's sleep is doing some gratitude, doing some deep breathing. Okay, so that gratitude or deep breathing really sets us up for the night ahead. So the gratitude is really important, just to keep adding those pebbles into the bucket, into our subconscious of how great our life is. And when you do this over time, I really feel like it does make a difference as to how you perceive life. Okay, which is obviously really important for your mood and really important for just how you view life and view challenges in your life. That next part of the deep breathing, this is really important for going more into our parasympathetic state. So with your deep breathing, okay, what I suggest is a 4-6-8 breathing pattern. You can do it seated, you can do it lying down, but it's basically a 4-second breath in, into the bottom of the belly, holding for 6 seconds, breathing out for 8 seconds. Okay, I'll tell you about the order that I would do this shortly. Other really key components to getting that good night's sleep is making sure that your room is super dark, making sure that there's not even, any lights on from electrical devices. By the way, there should be minimal electrical devices in your room. Your room should just be all about sleep and romance. Okay, there should be no work ever done in there. There should be definitely no TV in the room. It should be something that you associate with a good night's sleep. The other part to a good sleep is making sure that your room is nice and cold. Okay, so generally, most research shows that our sleep is a lot better if we sleep in a cooler environment. So if you do have air conditioning and you don't mind sleeping in aircon, don't be a tight ass, turn on the aircon, okay? For the amount of money that it costs us, it's definitely worth a good night's sleep. A couple of other components to a good night's sleep is making sure that you don't try and go to sleep when you're not actually sleepy. Okay, in the long term, and I've dealt with this a lot in the past, you can start associating like your bed with a lack of sleep if you're spending a lot of time in bed, but you're actually just lying there wide awake. So I will generally read like a fiction book, something that doesn't get me thinking too much, and I'll read until I'm basically dozing off, and then I'll just put my book down and roll over and go to sleep. On the times where I try and go to sleep before dozing off, I'm often just wide awake. Okay, so there's a lot of components there that are all really important to nailing a good night's sleep. So I'll just run through them again. So first of all, switching off everything when you get home, leaving work behind. Where possible, turn off the phone, turn off all notifications, etc. Try not to be too stimulated, turn down the lights, use candles where possible. Try not to watch TV or any sort of screens too close to bed. If you do, use blue light blockers or nighttime modes. And then as you're going to bed, guys, doing some gratitude, whether you're writing it down or just focusing on it internally. Doing some deep breathing. I'll often do this in bed actually after my gratitude, but before reading and then before putting down my book and falling asleep. Making sure the room is super dark, get some blockout curtains, tape up any lights if you have them, and making sure the room is nice and cool. The other component is trying to be as consistent as possible with when you go to bed. Okay, our body works in 24-hour cycles. If one night you're going to bed at 8 p.m. and the next night you're going to bed at 10 p.m., the next night you're going to bed at 12 p.m. It's all over the shop and your body actually isn't going to know that it's time to go to sleep. So the more of a pattern we get in, the more your body is going to respond to that pattern and be able to fall asleep easily. Nail these components, guys, and I can guarantee that you're going to improve your sleep from where it's at the moment. Okay, focus on the biggest obstacle at the moment, whether it's a dark room, whether it's the phone or the electricals in your bedroom. Fix that and you'll go a long way to getting a better night's sleep.